Welcome back. As we earlier were talking about the economic crisis that is overwhelming the whole world as a result of the military confrontation between Russia and Ukraine. The Bank of England sent a stark warning that Britain risks a double recession and inflation above 10% that is predicted, as it raised interest rates on Thursday to their highest since 2009, hiking by quarter point to 1%. This also trimmed bets on the central bank hiking rates aggressively this year, and short-dated British government bond yields slid sharply. Over this very important topic, we're very delighted to be having with us over the phone live here in the studio, talking to us, Dr. Zeinab Nawar, our economic analyst. Good morning, Dr. Nawar.
Yeah, good morning, my dear.
How are you doing? We were talking about the impact of the Bank of England decision to raise interest rates to reduce the inflation that is affected in the United Kingdom.
Of course, the decision that had been taken by related to the interest rate and increasing the interest rate, this is very normal because now for every country around the world, they are trying to absorb one of the main consequences of this war, which is the increasing of level of pricing and increasing the overall level of price. The thing that when we talk about Russia, we talk about one of the giant economies that are exporting maybe about 17% or maybe more even for the energy resources for all of the world and especially for Europe. So you are talking about a huge crisis because you are talking about crisis that is related to the energy use, and it's related to the main exporter to energy to Europe. Of course, the European countries, and Britain, one of these countries, are trying to absorb this increase in prices through the increase in the interest rate. Why increasing the interest rate? Increasing the interest rate means that you are making the cost of borrowing to both business and consumers is high. So, of course, this will lessen the amount of consumption maybe the consumers that they're going to do, or the business also will do. So by this means, you are trying to slow down the activity in the economy. So by doing this slowdown, you are decreasing the inflation rate. However, most of the European countries, and even for the US, who are trying to increase the interest rate, they have to be very cautious because when you increase an interest rate to absorb the effects of the inflation, you may cause also a recession because slowing down the economic activity, especially when we are in the time of the post-corona and we are in the time where we still have problems linked to the supply chain and we all know that there is a partial lockdown in China. So they have to be very cautious not to cause a recession and a more recession into their country. So definitely we are in a crisis which is not easy to be dealt with. Multi-variables, of incidents worldwide in different countries of the world. So each country is trying to put the policies that would slow down the activity just temporarily to decrease the inflation and decrease the increasing in the pricing level.
Right. As we all know that the pound fell by more than a cent against the US dollar to hit its lowest level since even mid-2020. What are the repercussions of this action over the British economy?
Yes, of course, the fluctuation that is happening for the sterling against the US dollar, and we can say that there is some sort of depreciation of the sterling against the US dollar. Once again, it will bring more into what we can say, forced inflation into the economy. Why is that? Because if you are importing some of the products, of course, Britain is importing from the US, or importing from the rest of the world. So this means that the value and of the imported products will be expensive. So once again, this will add to the increase, and this will add to the increase in prices level, because when you import from the rest of the world with the higher prices, this will add it to the price of the final product, and once again means higher inflation brought into the country. So unfortunately, the crisis had brought the main issue that the countries of the world and mainly in Europe, and of course, if we're going to talk about Egypt, it's about the high inflation rate that are now imported as a result of this crisis. in different windows of it, whether it's in because UK is importing energy from Russia and other products, and also the relations between the UK and the rest of the world, and UK and US, and all of this will impact the economy of the UK.
Right. How would investors inside the United Kingdom act or react to those darker economic forecasters?
Unfortunately, it's the same investor attitude worldwide. When we have this time of high inflation rate and this time of also a recession, because we are now, the world is witnessing these two incidents together. High inflation rate and also going into slowdown in activities and slowing down in economic activities. So of course, investors, they will not be encouraged to produce in this event. So unfortunately, when we can say that when the investors will take the decision is also to slow down their activities and on all of their investments, whatever activity they had used to do. So they will also add to the slowing down and more recession into the economy. It's a cycle that one item affects the other, affects the third variable. So once again, we are in this cycle, and we don't know when we are going to get out of this, because we want that the coming days that will bring, I don't know, we have a lot of unknowns also, and we are not quite sure when this war will be ended, and also this COVID and post-COVID era that we are having now, when also this will be ended. So a lot of unknowns and a lot of questions, and we hope that the future will bring us the better scenarios than what once we are now.
This military confrontation between Russia and Ukraine have affected in escalating the energy prices. How is that going to impact the taking the BOE's decision?
Of course, what we can say that this war between Russia and Ukraine, all the banks or all the central banks around the world, they're trying to do their best, and they're trying to work on what the only tool that they do have is the interest rate to lessen the repercussions of this war. But once again, we have to recognize that Russia is one of the main exporters of energy worldwide. Russia also is one of the main exporters of grain and fertilizers also worldwide. So you are talking about a giant economy, a so huge, so giant economy. It has an international and big weight. For the type of product that the Russia is exporting to the rest of the world. So of course, for the banks or the central bank, whatever in Britain, they are trying to increase the interest rate just to absorb any type of liquidity in the market and trying to lessen the inflation rate. So of course, what they are doing, and the central banks and the Fed and even the central bank here in Egypt, they are doing well and they're doing fine in dealing with the crisis. But once again, when the crisis will be ended, because at the end of the day, internationally we are talking about a recession is in the scene, and we don't want this to last for longer than this.
Right. Dr. Zeinab Nawar, our economic analyst, would like to thank you so much for your time. You have a good day.